All right, so we had a great day to learn. I have the 30-second chart up here to show you guys something. But yeah, great day to learn. Overall, not terrible. Let's see what we had going for today. Trade performance. Okay, this is the practice account. Hold up. We are up $93 on the day. We took 3 trades. And we'll get into those 3 trades that we took, what we could have learned. First off, practice. Let me make sure we're not in a trade. Okay, nothing there. Practice. All right. So going into the day, honestly, complete transparency, I was kind of bullish going into the day because I noticed the SMT bullish. We have been selling, and honestly, I am still bullish. I do think that we're not going to keep selling before taking higher. But on the day, we had all this liquidity built up, and I should have been more bearish on a shorter term bias because I'm trading from the 9:30 open to around 11 o'clock. So I shouldn't have been so bullish because we needed a lot to even be bullish, right? So going into the day, though, we just inversed that 1 hour, so I'll take that out. We have a 1 hour here we just tapped. But anyways, the reason I was bullish, and I still am bullish, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that bias on the higher time frame. If I was trading a higher time frame, we'll get into that, because we have this big sell-off on a big downtrend, but we instantly, with big displacement, inverse this bearish fair value gap, just run through it, and we hold the fair value gap, and we slowly climb bullish. So I was expecting to come take out the low, maybe these lows, and then get a bullish reaction. Paper trading the rest of the day. If I do take any trades, done for the day on live account. We learned a lot, but I should have been more aware of the SMT up here, bearish with the liquidity grab, and the fact that we just ran from this low up to this high, 500 points. There was no real pullback. This is the equilibrium of this. So this whole move, equilibrium had not been reached. Equilibrium was here, so I should have been more bearish going into the day. But that was on the higher time frame. That's how we got the bias. Going into the day, I noticed these equal lows right here. We'll go into the 5-minute time frame. We had perfect equal lows here, here. That could have been target. We come up alpha open. We take out this fair value gap here. Or we don't take out fair value gap. We take out the high here, which is an SMT on ES and NQ. We come up, and this is a great setup here. We get a 1-minute inverse. I didn't take it because it was at 9:49. We had news coming out in 10 minutes, which was this candle here, which was a 50-point candle, 47-point candle. So it was a high impact news. So you don't really want to take setups before. We had also taken out this low, which doesn't matter too much. But I don't really like taking inverses that take out the internal low. Sometimes they're less probable. Anyways, I didn't take this trade. It would have been a great trade. I would have targeted this low here first and held runners to the equal lows, or to this low or wherever. I'm not exactly sure where I'd hold to, but this would be a winning trade, right? There's no way you'd lose this trade. So that was the first trade. Then at this point, I wait for news, but we come down at 9:56, still waiting for news, and we put in a low right at the equal low, right at these equal lows here, and I'm still expecting those to get hit, even more so now, but I'm waiting for news, and I was expecting to get taken with that. We get news, we pump up, and at this point, I knew that if we inverse this big move, we don't get an inverse on the 1 minute, but what do we get on the 30-second? I'll pull it up here. We get a 30-second inverse. We have a fair value gap. This chart's not as nice. Bear with me. We have a fair value gap right here. I knew that if we closed, we'd probably go to these equal lows. And this was a big mistake. I saw it, but I didn't quite jump on the trade. I let this candle form and kind of reject. Then when I saw this candle come up here, reject the inverse and start selling, I then made the decision on this candle to get in, and by the time I got in, I got filled at 63. So really bad fill, and I had to sit through fire all the way till it came through here. My stop loss was above this high, or above this inverse. So I have my stop here. I actually even put my stop up here, which is pretty heavy. And I let it play out. And as soon as it went to profit, took out this low. I'm pretty sure I got out like here for like 1 or 2 points. I just closed it. I was scared. Didn't really change too much, but I still need to hold my trades fully. I think I got out for 2 points less. I just closed it before it hit full take profit, which is something I'm working on. But I think just mentally holding through this fire, I should have got in here at 81.75, and then that would have put me. I would only ever been down. I would have still been down 9 points at one point. But I could have had a 15-point stop loss instead of a 40-something point stop loss. And it wouldn't have been as stressful. Regardless, this trade played out. But then we had an SMT at this low. This would have been a nice model. We had these equal highs here. And we had an SMT at the low. We inverse here. This would have been a nice little trade to scout back up. I didn't take that. Then my next mistake was I got too caught up in the data highs because I know Dodgy likes data highs, and I trade off his inverse fair value gap model. So when we had this 1 minute fair value gap hold with an SMT, when we inverse this 1 minute candle here, I jumped in long on this candle. I went with smaller size, 2 micros, and I was going to take equilibrium of this wick, or consequent encouragement of the wick, which is the halfway point, was my first take profit. We didn't get it, and then my other take profit is going to be the data high. This trade failed. I think the reason it failed is this 5 minute fair value gap, and also we had much lower to go. I really just got too caught up in data highs because there was, besides this SMT, we weren't delivering from a bigger time frame fair value gap at all. No order block, anything like that. So we just had an SMT at a low, and we had the first displacement move up with no displacement through a high. I just got too caught up in a data high, too confident. But this is a loss I'm not super upset with. But I think it could be avoided, and it's more of just a overconfidence. So that was a small loss there. Going into the last trade of the day, we saw a 2 minute fair value gap that we were looking to inverse. When this trade failed here, we were rejecting the 5 minute fair value gap. And now that I look at here, we were also holding consequent encroachment of the data wick, which gives me even more confluence now that I look back. We're holding consequent encroachment of the wick, which just is the halfway point of the data wick. And then we sell off. We get a candle close here. I jumped in shorts. We get inches from my first take profit. We come back up, inverse the 2 minute. I was like, oh no, it's not going to work. I had my stop at 84 right here at the top of the fair value gap. We just held through the fire, and we got rewarded. And I took 4 micros out of my 5 off here and left my runner to run. My other mistake was the fact that I just closed my runner because I thought that it was just going to stop me out of break even. And we ran 100 points. So that would have been a 200-point singular micro. Would I have held all the way down here? Definitely not. I would have taken it off at the 16 level or the 22, but I would still got more on the runner than I did. So those were the trades today. The mistakes I made were this trade was decent. The 30-second was good. I just chased it. But I did good. Positives. I held my trades properly. To the most part, I held through fire of scary price where it thought it was going to reverse on me and whatnot. So I did do good in that sense. I did well with spotting trades, and I sized myself accordingly. I didn't spiral. I didn't make bad decisions, right? I do take a lot of learning today because I flipped my bias after we get the sell-off, but also because I went to TJR's kick stream. I don't watch streamers when I trade or watch live streams or in Discords, but I just went to his stream because I had a really mixed bias today because of where we were in the charts. And he was bearish, and that kind of made me be like, look at bearish again and find this SMT and find reasons to be bearish. So this trade is all right here. I don't think it's the greatest trade ever, but it's good. We have a 5 minute bearish, we have a 2 minute inverse, we break below it, and then we have this clear target, and we had clearer targets lower. So I could have gotten here, hold through the fire, go break even at this low, at this low here, go break even, and target this low and have a 380 point trade, or this low down here. So I got to get better at my targets and just execution of my trades, where I'm targeting, where I go break even, where I put my stop loss. I really need to dial that in. But right now it's just about spotting trades and building good habits. And today I think was all right. Paper trading again, like I said, the rest of the day. And stuff I learned from today is just never be too committed on one bias. Let the market tell you what it wants to do. And don't get shaken up with a loss, right? And hold my runners, right? Don't get worried about if a runner is a runner, right? I took off 4 of the contracts, 80% of my position I took off for my profit, and I should be able to remove myself from the runner and be like, okay, my runner's here to go. That's why it's called a runner. A runner isn't there to, I should just take it all off at my take profit or leave my runner to run. And if I left my runner to run, do its thing, we would have banked. So that's something we can learn too, because that is also how you just, how you skew your profit margins in trading is, you bank in your profit and you trade and you take profit, and then you let your runner go. And that runner on one micro, basically, if you capture 100 points, that's like another full loss. On one micro contract, you've just banked in a whole loss that you can take on your full size. So I need to start getting better with that. Like maybe even just letting these run just on the 1 minute, just whenever a black candle comes in, move it down. So whenever we started going here, I could have gone, once it took out the low, I could put my stop here, then here, then here, then here, then here, who knows, and then get stopped out here. But that's all hindsight, that's all whatever, I'll figure that out. But right now we are actually pulling into the 30 minutes up here. We had a 15 minute, so be curious to see what price action does. But yeah, so overall good day. I mean, I learned a lot. I had to throw my ego aside and accept that I didn't know everything today, and I didn't read the market perfectly. And setups that looked all right, like this SMT, which let me confirm. Yeah, we had an SMT there, and we hold this for value cap, we inverse. This setup doesn't look terrible, right? I could have probably scratched break even on this trade. Let's see if this high gets taken out. Yeah, when this high gets taken here, I probably could have squeezed break even, because we should run at this point. So maybe that was a mistake there, but I'm not too worried about squeezing out break even trades. Let's see, are we gonna get a setup? 3 minute. Honestly, a 3 minute close here, and I'll take a short on paper. Let's see. I'm trying to only take good setups on paper though, because I want the paper of the trades to mean something if I do take them, and not just kind of BS. So it doesn't look like we'll get a close, but let's see. Equilibrium of this move down, we haven't reached, but for this leg down, I believe we have. Yeah, we've reached equilibrium of that leg down. Anyways, just putting my bias aside, the data high stood out to me. It's kind of a shame that it didn't play out, because if this trade did play out, I think it would still be a good trade. So I'd say it's not a bad trade. That's a loss that's all right. It's just about having the wrong bias, right? The bias was short, the sentiment was short, and this trade was just against that, and it just didn't work out. So it is what it is some days, and you just have to learn from that. And then taking this trade, again, my targets aren't very great because I'm getting around here and I'm targeting this low, which is only like 18 points. So I'm trying to start getting trades that are more than just kind of like little micro scalping movements, Wow, let's see if the 30-second gave us anything there. No, nothing here. But yeah, I mean, so I think I want to be able to move away from just small take profits, because I'm so worried about getting a winner. And there's nothing wrong with me taking profit here, I don't think. But why am I not able to hold to like this low or this one? And it's just, I think, because I'm so emotional and in a trade already that I can't even imagine holding past a low-hanging fruit, because the idea of that scares me to where it could be like, oh my gosh, what if we reverse on the low-hanging fruit? because you see it a lot of times. This trade here, we reverse on the low hanging fruit, but we had equal lows with this low, so it makes sense. You take a lot of liquidity, market gets bought up. Whereas here, this was just a manipulation. There's not many stop losses here. The stop losses are lower. So I think I need to start trading in terms of liquidity, and how much liquidity is somewhere, right? There's a lot of liquidity under this low because of these lows, right? There wasn't much liquidity here because we already took the liquidity out of the market, and the liquidity lied here. So just getting more sharp about liquidity draws, stuff like that. But again, overall, good day. A lot to learn from. I just want to keep improving, keep getting better. Just keep studying, keep learning. Getting that live experience. That's what this is all about. Getting that live experience in the market is what I'm doing and need to keep getting better at. So we actually do have an SMT here, which is interesting to note, which makes sense to why we bounce. But yeah, I mean, again, a great day. I'm trying to look at every single day, regardless of outcome, as a great day because you're learning, getting better, and that's what I'm trying to do, and that's why I'm here, because I know I can keep getting better and better and better, and just sharing with a positive mindset is going to help the process, right? It does nobody any favor for me to come out here and be negative if I have a bad day or if I don't see things right. If I take a losing trade, I can't just have an ego and be like, oh, I was right, this just didn't work, or whatever, and blame everything on mistakes. I have to look at things for how they are and learn from it. Again, why did this short fail? We were in consequent encouragement of the wick, like on the 5-minute. We were in a 5-minute fair value gap. We had already swept the high. We have an SMT at the highs, and we're just bearish. So that's why that didn't work. Not the end of the world. We learn from it. Again, it's hard for me to learn from it because I don't see enough to where, right, it's hard on a trade. It's easy when you take a trade and you did bad things and you took a bad trade. Like last Friday, I took a terrible long. It's easy for me to look at the long and say, yeah, this didn't work because of this, this, and this, right? But the hard thing to do in trading is to look at a trade that there's not really anything glaringly obvious that was bad. Like when I look at this setup in SMT with displacement through a high, pull back to the fair value gap, we hold, we inverse the bearish one. But what do? We're guaranteed this high here. It gets the high, right? So looking back at the trade, there was nothing wrong with the trade, but it still lost. So it's like, am I missing something? Do I not know something? And sometimes that's just part of it, and you have to really be honest, right? And be like, okay, was this loss a good trade and it just lost, or is there something to learn from it? And there's something to learn from it always, regardless. But again, this trade isn't. I'm not super upset with this trade at all. I don't think it's a bad trade. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is a bad trade. I'm genuinely trying to look at the charts here and figure out, besides the bearish fair value gap, the consequent encouragement. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's all it is. But there's always going to be confluences against your trade, and I think it's just hard to ever know 100%, right? So I think this is just me putting risk on the table. I think it's good that I lowered my size, and I think it's just a loss you take and you move on from. So learning from your losses is the point I'm trying to make here, and just treating every day as a learning experience and being grateful for every opportunity in the market and trying to continuously improve. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hope you guys have a good day. I'll be paper trading the rest of the day, and peace out.